Hello everyone! Welcome back to more Let's Play Seduce Me! For the final time, we are going through Damion's route. As this will be the final episode. Well, kinda. Sort of. You know what I mean. Come on. If you followed along for this long, then you kinda know what I meant. Okay? Okay. But anyway, after what seemed like hours, I finally woke up, slightly refreshed. My body knew that if I slept any longer, I'd be up all night, which was not part of the plan of the day, even though I keep sleeping a lot. It's like these guys keep stealing my energy, and I just keep falling asleep like crazy, you know? I'm just a sleep hog at this point. I rubbed my eyes and sat up, letting a soft groan escape my lips. In response, something beside my bed shuffled, causing me to look over. I didn't know what I was expecting. Aww, it's Damion! Beside me, sitting in a chair beside the bed, was Damion, rousing himself up to see me awake. I smiled at him, seeing his slightly ruffled hair and tired eyes.
Oh, you're awake. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel better now that you're here. Damion nodded before he looked down at the bed, taking my hand into his.
I'm sorry. This is all my fault.
Damion, how the fuck is it your fault?
No, it is. I was the one who wanted to come to the human world. I convinced the others to come with. If I never did that, we'd never have put you in danger like this.
Aw, he's thinking of us. I quickly reached over and put my finger on his lips, stopping him from going any further. I didn't want to hear anymore. Damion, it's okay. I wanted to help you out. I offered to let you all stay. Nothing is your fault. I gently moved my hand and cupped Damien's cheek, staring at him with concern. I didn't want him to hold guilt in his mind about this whole ordeal. Diana was desperate and she'd hunt anyone for them. It wasn't his fault she was desperate enough to hunt them down. One thing bothered me though. Why did his dad scorn him? Why did Damion want to run away? The others seemed a little obvious, but Damion was a mystery. However, before I could be vocally curious, Damion gently held my head in his hands. Damion? Damion frowned and simply held me.
I'll show you everything.
Ooh. Alright, so this is where Damion gets a little bit interesting. If I do recall correctly, this is like the part where everything gets a lot more interesting about him, and specifically him compared to the others. Damion let out a small laugh, a hint of depression lingering in the breath he let out, but he focused his energy to my head. My vision blurred, and suddenly I was back in the demon castle. I expected to see Damion wandering around the halls or with his brothers. However, I found him alone, sitting on the foot of the throne, tearfully curled into a ball. The room smelled of blood, but my eyes couldn't look away from the tearful Damion. Damion? I know he couldn't hear me, but I instinctively called out to him. He looked lonely. Where were his brothers?
Why are you crying?
Damion picked his head up, suddenly, as did I. Grandfather? What the fuck, dude?
Who are you? What do you want?
I just want to know if you're okay.
Who are you?
Don't be afraid. I'm just a friend.
A friend?
I stared completely in shock. When did... My grandfather knew them? How the fuck did he know them? Everything started going in fast forward. I saw Damion talking to this voice of my grandfather, seeing his sad face go from happy to surprised, to fascinated and cycle randomly. There were even moments when Matthew joined him, letting Damion speak through the voice in the air. It was all unbelievable. Here my grandfather spoke of the human world, painting it to be a beautiful world full of opportunity. How did my father know about all this? $1,000,000 fucking question there! What was going on? My mind suddenly spun at the idea that my grandfather delved into magic and demons. Eventually, the world around me slowed down to see the boys standing before the empty throne. They looked determined, stout, and ready for something to happen. Damion stepped forward and held his hand out to the throne.
O tenebris portas, aperiat nobis, laudiet horexitum, desiderium.
My grandfather stared started to chant a phrase unfamiliar to me, letting it rupture into the air around the boys. Gusts of wind started to brush through the room like a storm rushing in. I watched, however, a small tear opened in the air in the front to the of the throne. Yeah, of the throne! Jesus Christ! Well, we already know how well this is going to go. It glowed an unholy purple color, peeking to a very familiar pink cafe. No way! That's... Quickly, Sam rushed over and drove his hands through the tear, pulling it open and making it larger, and revealing the pink lady cafe, with my grandfather on the other side. My grandfather held out his hand, ushering the boys to come.
Hurry up, boys! I can't hold it open for long!
Instantly, the boys ran through the tear, climbing through and almost crashing into the tables and chairs of the cafe. I felt myself move through it as well as joining them as my grandfather closed the portal. When it comes to the cafe, we will be exploring that at another point in time, just not quite yet. So just kind of deal with the random cafe for now. The boys looked around the space, almost mystified at the sight. My grandfather laughed, out of breath, before sitting down at one of the nearby tables.
There now. Welcome to the human world, boys. Let's see. Kay, make us some coffee, please. These boys need a drink.
I turned to see Kay, the owner of the cafe, and the only other person in the room besides the boys, smile and quickly got to work on making coffee. I was dumbfounded. She knew about them, too? What the fuck, lady? I felt myself getting dizzy at the thought, but I shook my head out and tried to focus on what was going on. My grandfather looked at the boys up and down before chuckling again. The boys must have still been speechless.
You'll need a spell to cover yourselves up. Humans don't exactly have horns or parade around naked.
Yeah, in case you guys haven't noticed, they are a bit on the nude side. Don't delete this, YouTube, I swear, it's kid-friendly, I swear, please, don't, YouTube! Ah! The boys looked at each other before collectively nodding and focusing their energies. Ta-da! Before my eyes, they went from demons to human-looking demons. They looked to each other, ecstatic at their new looks. My grandfather, however, cleared his throat and brought the attention back to him.
Now don't be rude to Kay now. Sit and enjoy some coffee. It's the best in town.
The boys obeyed, obviously in his debt. I looked at Damon's face, and he was almost in tears with joy. I could tell that he was beyond happy to be in the human world. I almost felt like crying for him, but I couldn't understand why. Maybe it was his facial expressions, or maybe it was because I would meet him soon after this fact. Eventually, Damion stopped the magic, lowering his hands and letting me back to reality. I held on to Damion, who kept a hold of me to make sure I didn't faint. Everything felt so wrong, and yet it all made sense at the same time. My grandfather knew magic. My grandfather helped the boys. He cast a spell on the magician and on me to protect me.
I was the one who convinced everyone to come to the human world. I was also the one who asked that man, your grandfather, to bring us.
So he helped you come through. What happened after?
He gave us a wallet full of fake IDs and maps of the world. He told us to go anywhere we wanted and that he would pay for everything so we wouldn't have to use our magic. It was like he made us human.
Ah, the joy of money. Damion left nostalgically. I could tell he was happy remembering how my grandfather had helped. I still couldn't wrap my head around it, but the answer I wanted were 6 feet under and unreachable now. Rest in peace, Gramps. He really wanted to be human. Damion looked at me, his eyes glimmering with both hope and shame.
More than anything, I still want to be human. I don't mean just in looks. Everything.
Damion looked to his hands, lowering them to the bed between us.
Humans don't read minds. Humans don't hurt people like demons do. I didn't ask to be a demon. I want to learn things, go places, and not have to be bound by magic or anything.
Well, I guess maybe he meant humans don't hurt people like demons do. Maybe, like, demons are, like, 10 times worse than humans. But, scoff! I stared. It was pitiful to see him like this. He looked almost like a child, begging me for something he really wanted. I wanted to help somehow. I just didn't know how.
It's all right.
Damion?
You've already done so much for me and my brothers. Sheltering us. Letting us continue to live here.
Damion frowned, though, gently caressing my cheek with his hand.
I don't want you to get hurt because of us.
Damion lowered his head in shame. I couldn't help but feel my heart squeeze within my chest at the sight. He truly cared. Damion let out a small sigh before looking to me with this new smile. He hid his sadness well, but I could tell he was still upset about the whole ordeal.
All right. You should sleep.
I've been sleeping forever today. Stop making me go back to sleep. Damion gently pressed me back down onto the bed, resolved in what had happened. Ooh. Steal a kiss. Get over here, boy. I couldn't let him leave without doing something. I quickly pulled Damion down to me, lifted my head, and gently kissed him, softly laying a hand on his cheek to keep his face close to me. Damion stared in deep surprise before hesitantly kissing me back, caressing my cheek and slightly melting at the touch of our lips. A soft sigh escaped his lips before he slowly pulled away with a smile. He gently licked his lips, making me go red in the face at the simple gesture. He let out a satisfied sigh before nuzzling my forehead.
Go to sleep.
No, I don't want to. I've been doing it all day. And with that, he stood up and left the room, leaving me to rest as per his request. I smiled to myself before relaxing into the mattress.
How pathetically sweet.
Fuck. I suddenly tensed up. I felt majorly uneasy. She was here. Of course she would be. I quickly looked around the room, sitting up straight before Diana leaning against the window with a smirk towards me. What do you want now?
Oh, I just wanted to see how close Damion was to you. Obviously, he's very close.
I stood from the bed, glaring daggers at Diana. And what's it to you? He doesn't want to leave with you, so leave him alone.
Oh, I will. I don't care enough for the bastard son to try and take him away. I just want you to know exactly what you have.
What are you talking about? Diana chuckled, which made me slightly sick to my stomach for some reason. She knew something.
Did Damion tell you about what he lived through?
He showed me when he left. He met with...
No, not that. Before that. Did he show you anything before that?
Well, he was scorned by the Demon Lord.
He didn't show you everything, did he?
Why would he need to? He showed me what he needed to.
I don't need to show her anything else.
I turned to see Damion, glaring at Diana with a scary glare. I felt dark shivers run down my spine as I stared at him.
Ah, Damion. Right on cue. I was just about to show her why you hate your life and why you have a human fetish.
I forgot she says that. Human fetish.
You will not show her anything.
Oh, I won't. Funny. I don't believe you get to tell me what to do, bastard son.
Before Damion and I could help leap at her throat, Diana stopped her fingers, suddenly making the room spin. I quickly grabbed onto Damion, who held me close as the room slowly began to change from my room to the demon castle. I looked around, feeling unable to move from Damion's embrace out of dizziness. I looked to Diana, who was leaning on a pillar on the far side of the room with a smirk. However, my focus gathered on a pair of demons, one of them being the demon servant that was with the demon lord, carrying sheets and books across the room.
Damn that woman, ordering us around. I bet she thinks she's all high and mighty just because she bore that bastard son. Well, she's no queen. She's a simple harem girl. She'll never be queen. The demon lord reminds her that every bloody night. You'd think she'd let it sink in.
The snort that erupted from the servant's nose disgusted me to no end. How vile was this creature? Who was he talking about?
And about that boy, what do the other noble sons think about him? They treat him like an equal. He's no noble son, and he will never be. He's a bastard child that doesn't know his place, just like his bitch mother.
Who the fuck are you talking to, dude?
Shh, you know he could read minds from a mile away.
Oh, there's another servant. Okay, that makes more sense.
Then let him read mine. I don't care. is a monstrosity never meant to be born.
The servant cleared his throat, however, at the sight of the demon Damion, who was standing nearby with an almost dead cold look on his face.
Ah, you.
Yes, me. I don't need to be a mile away to hear your thoughts.
Boy, what?
What I'm doing out of my room is no longer your concern. I may be a bastard, but I'm the Demon Lord's son regardless. I won't take insults from you anymore.
Then what are you going to do, bastard son?
Yeah, what are you gonna do, man? Damion started to step forward. I don't know why, but the room suddenly felt cold and dark as Damion started to approach the servant.
I'm finally gonna shut you up.
If you threaten me, you threaten him.
Damon's glare could practically kill. I was afraid to even watch, but I continued, hoping to not see blood spill from this fight. Damion continued to walk towards the servant, towering over him like a shadow.
I've taken your insults for long enough. Now, I get peace.
Stay away.
I've had enough of you.
Damion stopped, turning his head to look at the archway in surprise.
Mother?
That's your mom, boy? Covered a red long cloak thing? What the hell is that? The demon servant slowly turned, also matching Damien's surprise as they looked to the archway. A figure, completely covered in a red sheet, stepped out into the hall, slowly walking to Damion. The thick sound of chains echoed in the room, dragging across the stone floor. I felt something in my gut tighten, unsure of what was going on, but positive something wasn't right about it. However, the familiar smell of blood entered my nose, only it was fresher and much more potent. My gaze slowly trailed down to the stone floor, only for me to go wide-eyed at the sight. Blood, brushed over by the sheet as the woman walked, painted the stone a dark red and almost black color in the woman's wake. I looked back to the mother, now worried that she was bleeding underneath the sheet.
Leave us.
The mother sounded almost enchanting, despite only saying 2 words in her arrival. She almost let it slip from my mind that this was merely a vision. The servant glared before walking off, mumbling incoherently under his breath. The other demon with him giggling at the servant's inability to fight back. I guess Damon's mother was powerful enough to silence anyone. However, one fact stuck out to me. His mother was a harem girl. I imagined chains on her covered feet making me frown. It was terrible to imagine.
What are you doing out? He'll hurt you if you aren't...
Damon stopped talking, staring at the woman walking towards him in a sudden calm demeanor. A hand slipped out from the curtain and gently caressed Damon's cheek, making him almost melt into the hand. Damon looked to his mother, a look of hopelessness on his face.
Why do you want me to turn around?
Just listen to my thoughts, like you always do.
I watched as Damion slowly nodded and turned around.
As you wish.
Focus on my thoughts.
I could tell that Damion was holding his breath. He must have cared very deeply for his mother. It was incredibly sweet. Silence lingered in the room, obviously because Damion was listening to his mother's thoughts. It was almost awkward to watch. The hand that held Damion gently petted over his hair. The breath that Damion was holding slowly was let loose, letting Damion relax. Maybe she was calming him down. He was pretty angry, but why make him turn around? All she was doing was petting his head and talking to him in her mind. It seemed surreal. Something was very wrong. I looked around the room, trying to see what was going on behind the scene. Was someone going to stop them? Was someone going to interrupt? My eyes landed on the dark shadow of a woman walking towards the couple with a knife in her hand. She had shackles with chains on her neck, hands and feet, but they remained silent as the woman neared the couple.
I'm sorry.
All of a sudden, the mother brought out her other hand and took hold of Damon's horns, pushing him to his knees. Damion! No! The shadow quickly started to run at the couple, raising the knife higher above her head. I instantly wanted to move, to run, and protect Damion. I remained still, watching the scene unfurl before me.
No!
Damion kicked back, causing his mother to buckle and fall back and release his horns. Damion quickly turned and grabbed hold of the Shadow's arms, tightening his grip on them. The Shadow started to scream and bite at Damion desperately. Damion glared and threw the shadow at the nearby pillar, making it disappear and drop the knife it was holding. I looked to the mother and regretted looking. The sheet that was wrapped around her wasn't long enough to cover her as she fell, the edge lining on over her stomach and covered her upper body. The lower half of her body, though, was covered with multiple different scars and blood. Her ankles were both shackled to different lines of broken-off chains. Her legs were together, but I could tell the number of scars and the amount of blood only increased the farther up her legs went. The poor woman. I stared as the demon Damion looked to his mother in shock and heartbreak. The real Damion around me gripped to me tighter.
Why?
In an instant, his mother raised her hand to the fallen knife, tensing her hand and fingers to bare her nails. The knife flew off the ground into the woman's hand, making her grip over the handle tightly.
Enough. I can't. I don't want to live like this anymore. I won't let him have me again. I won't let you invade my mind again.
The woman quickly got up onto her knees and raised the knife over her head. I felt my mind screaming as I gasped.
I can't take it anymore! I can't!
No! Stop!
Enough!
Ooh. 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 That's gonna leave a boo-boo. I felt my voice vanish as I watched this woman, Damion's mother, slam the knife into her own body, curling over herself at the stab. After a choked sob and breath, the woman fell to the ground, curled into a ball as blood pulled from under her and the already blood-red sheet.
No!
The world around me shattered at his voice, stabbing through my heart and my stomach. Like glass, the world fell apart and I was left in darkness. The real Damion gripped onto me, burying his face in my shoulders. I gripped to his arms. Did that really happen? What did I just witness? Why would Diana reopen this kind of wound for Damion? Alright, so we kind of have a very depressing backstory for Damion. Woo! Mother was, tortured every day and just couldn't handle it. Poor thing. Finally, the world reformed back to my room with Diana by the window.
The Demon Lord, despite his sadistic pleasures, loved Damion's mother beyond anything else, even his own wives. When she killed herself, the Demon Lord blamed Damion and his ability to read minds.
I'm sure that's what he says that night, but in reality, he just hates everybody.
The only ones who convinced him not to kill Damion were his brothers. So the Demon Lord granted Damion his life. But he would be doomed to become a lowly slave as soon as the eldest became Lord.
I looked to Damion, who had a face of both murderous hatred and pure sadness as he glared at Diana. The woman he glared at, however, simply chuckled.
So, one day, he was visited by an angel who told him about humans and painted him a pretty picture about them. Now, he's obsessed with it.
Why are you telling me this? Why are you doing all this?
To butter you both up, of course. I'm about to give him the chance to have his wish granted.
Damion and I stared in pure disbelief. Was Diana serious? She was a nut job. Underrated statement. Diana laughed, seeing both of our faces.
I needed to see how well you could handle his past. You can't have true love without seeing all sides of your love, now can you?
Oh, please don't talk to me like that. I swear to God. Diana then looked fully to Damion, crossing her arms. Something about this struck a fear chord with me, but I watched in silence.
I offer you this, bastard son. I have the ability to turn you completely human. No magic, no mind reading.
You're lying.
Am I? Read my mind. See for yourself.
Damion stared at Diana, only to go wide-eyed at her.
You're not. But...
That's right. Your humanity for your brothers.
I looked to Diana in surprise. What? She wanted him to hand his brothers over to her? That was underhanded and cruel!
Think about it, Damion. You can finally be human. You won't hurt anyone anymore. You won't put her in danger.
I don't know. Danger seems to follow me before you guys, so it's not a big deal. I could see Damion look at me, instinctively making me look back at him. He had a look of fear, which scared me. Was he going to say yes? Was he going to say no? I wouldn't know what to do in this situation.
All I ask is that you completely willingly let me take your brothers back home. No big deal if that means you get to be a human with the girl of your dreams, right?
No.
Excuse me?
Thank you, Damion.
I said no. I will not give my brothers over to you.
I could see Diana's anger flare up like a snake ready to strike.
You do realize what you're denying yourself, right? You're giving up your one chance to become human.
I'd rather remain a demon than let my brothers be your slaves. Now leave.
Diana gripped her hands into fists by her sides and glared daggers at Damion. However, she didn't move to strike. She raised one of her hands and rubbed her temple in pure anger.
Then I'm curious, Damion. What would you trade for your humanity? You wouldn't go so far as to have sex with me for it, would you?
Whoa. Damion remained silent. I looked at Damion, expecting him to answer, but why was he not replying? My mind went into a mini frenzy. Was he? Was he willing to have sex with Diana for it? Diana let a large surprised smile appear on her face at Damien's silence.
Or would you? Interesting. And if I were to offer that?
Again, silence. Damion wouldn't. He couldn't. Not with her. No way! Yet, at the same time, I felt that he was the master of his fate. He had to say yes or no. It wasn't my place to decide that kind of change. One part of me felt betrayed, but the other part of me almost wanted him to go through with the idea. What the fuck is wrong with me? Who the fuck would say this? No! Oh my god. Swear. We're getting to the part that I absolutely hate about Damion. Like, I do not like this, and I don't like the decision, and I don't know why we're, like, trying to chill with this idea. I fucking hate this. This is, like, the worst part of Damien's route. Oh, it's coming up soon, but oh, it pisses me off. For Damien's humanity. Damion remained silent still. Why was he not making a choice? Diana turned her gaze to me before smirking.
Ah, I see. Well, I guess you've proven useless to me. You're not going to say yes with your little princess around.
Ouch. A purple pentagram slowly appeared beneath Diana's feet, letting her slowly sink into it.
However, in case you do change your mind, call me. I'll be around.
Bye. With that, Diana left us alone in my room. I fully let out the arrows, unconsciously holding my chest, relaxing from the ordeal. Damion stepped to me and held me gently, surprising me.
Are you all right?
I don't know! Were you actually considering sleeping with her? I nodded in surprise, unable to speak so immediately after being surprised. Damion let out a sigh, relaxing in the embrace. I gently placed my hands around him, returning the embrace slightly. I could hear Damon's heartbeat. He held me close in his arms, and I felt safe beyond words. Are you okay?
Yeah, I am.
I looked up at Damion, happy that he was okay. Damion blushed, moving a strand of my hair away from my face to look down at me. However, he suddenly pulled away, looking down at his feet.
I should go. You still need rest.
Before I could speak, Damion turned on his heel and rushed out of the room. I stood there, staring at the door in a daze. Did that really just happen? Oh, hell no! There was no way I was letting him get away from me after all this. Get the fuck back here, boy! I quickly followed him out of the room, spotting him turn the corner to go downstairs into the lobby. I followed quietly, unsure of where he was going, but determined to follow him to his destination. To my surprise, he turned a corner and pushed open a wall, sliding into it and closing it behind him. I followed and repeated the action, earning entry. When did this... How did Damion know of this place? I walked down a small flight of stairs and continued through the dark, secret hallway, unsure what to see at the end. What was my grandfather hiding in here? Was it a magic room? Was it a secret study? I didn't know. I felt steam gently brush against my skin, making me shiver slightly. Ooh. A boiler room? I was wrong. It's a fucking jacuzzi, everybody! A fucking outdoor jacuzzi somewhere in the fucking mansion. It's fucking great. I was led to a door that opened to the outside. From the direction I was going and how far I went, I was a little past the backyard. When I opened the door, the sight made me gasp. I was greeted by a hot spring, private and isolated from the world. Was it magic? Was it just placed conveniently here? I was unsure. However, my eyes traveled to Damion, who was staring at me, unsurprised that I had followed.
Your grandfather told me of this place.
When?
When we first came here. Before we had dinner, remember?
Remember when we were eating and we stared at Damion and he's like, it's nothing, don't worry about it, babe, don't worry. Yeah, he was talking to his grandfather, or our grandfather, not his, fuck his grandfather. My mind went back to the day we met, remembering when Damion was looking at empty space and speaking to it. I knew there was something going on, but I didn't know what. Well, that explained it right there. You were talking to my...
He died, yes, but his spirit remained here while Malix chased us. Once Malix was no longer a threat, he left this place, knowing that we would take care of you.
Aww. I cannot believe what I was hearing. He had been watching over me?
He didn't want you to be alone when you moved in. When we were attacked, he guided us to this house. We didn't know it was to protect you until after you went to bed that night.
And this is why I like Damien's route. It explains the story a little bit more. You know, just like a little bits and pieces here and there. There's so much information I felt nauseous. I felt myself falling back before Damion rushed over and held me close.
Whoa, careful!
I gripped onto Damion, feeling his warmth surround me. Everything was happening so fast. I didn't know how to contain it all. Yet for some reason, I felt safe and secure in Damion's embrace. Was I crazy? Probably at this rate. But I didn't care to think about it. My mind went from spastic and crazed to calm and at peace in his arms. He wasn't using his incubus powers on me, though. I looked to Damion, seeing at last a deep love in his eyes. He cared for me and wanted to protect me beyond anything else in the world. He would have left long ago if that wasn't the case. Hearing my thoughts, Damion smiled at me and nodded, affirming them. I felt my heart flutter a bit, making me forget what chaos I went through. You really love me.
Yes, I do love you. More than anything.
Damion gently caressed my cheeks, leaning his forehead against mine.
I wanted to tell you everything sooner, but I couldn't find the words. Now everything's come at you at once, and I really...
I brought a hand up, silencing Damion again. I understand, just... tell me things earlier next time. Damion let out a small laugh and nodded. I knew he'd make it up to me one day, but one question festered in my mind. Obviously, Damion was curious too.
Do you love me?
The $1 million question, baby. I stared, unsure of how to answer. He could read minds, yes, but I was sure he couldn't read the conflicting feelings in my heart. I felt a storm raging in my chest, trying to dig up the answer. With my mind still frazzled, I let my heart guide my answer. I fucking love you, boy! I fucking love you! I loved him, and wanted to give him exactly what he wanted. I gently leaned in, letting my lips finally touch his gingerly. Damion let out almost a surprised gasp against my lips before wrapping both of his arms around my waist, pulling me close to him. I moved my arms up and around his neck, feeling the kiss between us deepen to a heated height. My chest was pounding, making me feel and see fireworks in my mind. Damion was everything I desired. He was the man I wanted, demon or not. It was also supernatural to fall in love with someone so quickly. Maybe it was the incensed magic I was thrown into. Maybe it was Cupid playing with my heart. Either way, I found myself melting at the thought of him being with me. I found myself combing my fingers through Damien's hair, making the man holding me softly tremble at my touch. He gently nibbled at my lower lip, asking me to deepen the kiss between us even further. I easily teased him before finally opening my mouth slightly for him. His tongue gently danced up with mine as one of his hands slid up my back and cradled my head. He gently leaned my body back, making me cling to him as the heat of our kiss rose higher and higher. Gently, though, Damion slowed the kiss down and pulled away, staring at me. His eyes burned for me, wanting me to melt and buckle in his arms. I could feel myself melt already. Damion opened his mouth to speak, but as a very small blush ran across his cheeks, he was reduced to shy silence. I stared as he tried to find the words to say in my eyes. I knew exactly what he wanted. He didn't need energy, though, right? Are you?
No, I just...
Oh, you just want to. Okay. I stared wide-eyed, feeling a blush on my cheeks grow. He didn't say anything more, but I knew what words would have followed if he continued. He wanted me. I was stunned. Was I that appealing to him? Was his passion really that deep for me? Damion gently nuzzled my forehead, losing the blush of finally being able to speak.
If you don't want to, we don't have to. I'll understand.
I could feel my mind go numb and purr at the idea. A moment with an incubus. He was a demon of sex, the purest form of lust and desire. My world would rock and I would enjoy every second of it. At the same time, I was indeed inexperienced. Diana was wrong when she claimed me to be innocent. Did I want to give that innocence to him, especially this early? I found myself forgetting the words yes and no. What could I say to him? I knew then what I wanted, but how to say it without breaking the moment? Oh, we all know what's going to happen. Come here, boy. Seduce me. I couldn't believe the two words that came out of my mouth. It made the most sense to tell him yes. I needed him. I wanted him. Those two words must have made something in him finally break. Because the floodgates came running at us. Woo! Damion gently wrapped his arms around me and went back to kissing me passionately. Damion simply ran his fingers down his jacket and shirt, releasing the buttons and revealing his bare chest to me. I couldn't help but move one of my hands down his chest, running my fingers over the crevices of his muscles. A pleasured purr escaped his throat, making me shiver slightly. Damion let both of his shirt and jacket slide down his arms to the ground before curling my head in his hands and kissing me deeply. I felt heat rise in my body, making me undo the tie underneath my collar and releasing the buttons on my own shirt. Quickly, I removed my shirt and vest, making Damion stop kissing me and stare in slight surprise. I was simply in a bra, but I could feel a blush invade my cheeks. My shy side began to fester in my mind. Did I really want this? To undress before a demon? No. This was the man I loved, and yet I felt my innocence drape over me in an almost shame. Damion smiled and lifted my face to kiss me again. He knew I was nervous and wanted to draw my attention away from it. Before I knew it, he and I were both stripped of clothing, surrounded by a cloud of steam. The heat between our bodies simply added to the warmth. Damion started to guide me, though. With the hot water of the spring, I looked at him with a slightly confused look. Here?
Why not?
Touché. My mind instantly agreed. Why not? I followed Damion and cuddled close as we both stood in the water. It didn't take long for us to get back into the mood we were in, intensified by the heat of the spring. Damion pulled me close, knowing I was still shy, and began to kiss my lips over and over. Each kiss was his promise to keep me safe, keep me comfortable, and to love me. I kept my arms wrapped around Damion, taking each kiss he gave me and giving him my own kisses in return. I didn't know if it was the fact we were both naked, or maybe I just craved his touch. I didn't want to let him go. There we go, there's a steamy sex scene. The steam ran over our bodies, cleansing our skins as we held on to each other like it was the end of the world. The fragrance of the spring engraved itself into my memory as I let him touch me and hold me to him. He was gentle and sweet, making sure to be attentive to every part of me. However, as he held me, I could slightly feel the shiver of his hands. He was nervous? Was I his first? He wasn't one to show it. He wanted me to enjoy this moment, but was afraid of screwing up. His shivering hands showed me his emotions perfectly. The pleasure between us would be heavenly, and we'd go through it together. I closed my eyes and gave myself to Damion. My body, my mind, my soul, it all belonged to him as he held me. His body, his soul, his mind, it all belonged to me as I gave in to his embrace. His kisses and fingers over my skin would forever engrave themselves into my memory as our passion rose through incredible heights. Our breaths and moans to each other equally sounded and echoed like a blissful chant we never wished to end. We kept moving, loving, feeling every inch of our bodies until we had enough, and I was enveloped in his embrace. Skin to skin, heartbeats matching as we held each other in the glow of the aftermath. We couldn't stay in the spring forever, though. Eventually, Damion managed to bring us back to my room, laying us both in my bed to relax. With his magic, we were dried off before we hit the sheets. I nuzzled my head under Damion's chin as he held me close.
I love you.
I love you too. Just to hear those words come from Damien's mouth made my heart flutter. To hear me answer made my soul warm me with glee. I could feel both of us sink into a peaceful sleep together. It was the best sleep I had had in days, and I was happy. I had love, and I had my happiness. Thank you. My life was simply perfect. When I opened my eyes, I found myself staring into Damien's bare chest. I blushed, but looked up to see Damion still sleeping. His sleeping face made me giggle softly, but the reality of the situation made my heart flutter. I couldn't believe it. I was laying next to a man I had grown to love with all of my heart. His warm embrace made me feel safe, and as our tender moments replayed in my head, I couldn't help but smile and snuggle into his chest further. Unconsciously, he held me tighter to his body, giving me more of his warmth. I didn't want to move, but then my core suddenly tightened and made me sit up without waking the man next to me. I felt my legs move and bring me to the balcony window, where I opened the glass and stepped out onto the patio. I stared wide-eyed at Diana, who sat cross-legged on the railing of the balcony with her glowing gold eyes stared up upon me. I opened my mouth to eject, but Diana stopped me.
Before you get all huffy, I didn't come here to take your precious man away. By the way, how was it exactly? Demons are the best lovers, after all.
I glared. What do you want this time, Diana?
Well, I wanted to extend a deal to you. I promise you'll like it.
I don't want any deals with you, Diana.
Not even to make Damion human?
I'm not giving you the boys!
I'm not asking for the boys this time.
Come on, what else do you want, honestly? I stared dumbfounded as I looked at Diana. She rubbed her temple, clearly annoyed.
This whole trip has been a waste of my time and energy. All I want to do is go back home and take over my kingdom.
Then why don't you?
Because I need more energy if I want to even try to defend my home from that maniac demon lord. I may be brilliant, but I'm not exactly fortified to fight him.
So this conversation is kind of interesting, because it actually kind of plays back, and it actually goes into the story with Seduce Me 2, the Demon War. Hint, hint. I pressed my lips together in a flat line, not sure what Diana was wanting. Okay, I'm listening.
I'm willing to turn Damion human, if you're willing to give me your energy, and his.
Wait, what?
Simple, really. Give me the magic you're holstering in your body and let me take Damion's, and I'll be on my way, and you'll get a human boyfriend. A boring, plain, human boyfriend.
Don't remind me of Andrew, please, for the love of God. I couldn't believe my ears. Was Diana really offering this deal to me? How could you take this energy?
From you, a simple kiss will do. From him, that's a different story.
What do you mean?
I have to sleep with him.
Oh boy, here's the part I fucking hate about Damion's route. Absolutely fucking hate. I almost lunged at her. She must have been joking. Her to sleep with him? No way in hell! Diana held her hands up in defense.
What you humans don't understand is how we demons work. A touch is a mere sip of energy, while sex is a pure energy transfero. Perfect for humans. A really passionate love-making session would drain any demon of their energy.
But he's...
Yes, he's your man, but I need the energy and you want him to get his wish. We both win. Get it? I'll even throw in a memory spell. He won't even remember it.
I grew enraged. How is she okay with this? How did she expect me to be okay with this? What the fuck, woman? But what if he doesn't want it? I'm not gonna let you rape.
If Damion doesn't want it. Silly girl, do you not understand what he's willing to do for his humanity?
I froze. Diana smirked.
He's willing to have sex with me. He just won't say yes in front of you because he doesn't want to hurt you. It's rather pathetic.
I couldn't believe my ears. Was this the truth? No way, it couldn't be. Yet, at the same time, this made sense. This was why Damion was so silent the first time she asked him. Was it truly because he didn't want to hurt me? Or was he actually not willing? Diana's voice broke my thoughts.
By the way, I'm not a total bitch if that's what you're thinking. I will ask him first before doing anything.
Well, thank you, I guess, but that doesn't help this fucking situation! What? She was going to ask him? Why? You'll ask him? What if he actually doesn't want to have sex with you for his humanity?
If he says no, I'll just toss him back here and not change him. I'm not willing to do it with someone who will say no to me.
The way she talked about this deal annoyed me to no end. This was definitely a business deal, but this deal tore in my chest like a motherfucker! Let him sleep with her and he'll become human. Don't and he'll remain a demon. So, you see these two fucking options. Let her or no. If you want the good ending, guess which one you have to fucking choose. This one. Why would you make this a fucking option? Especially in number 2, it kind of becomes a problem in number 2, and I kind of fucking hate it, and I thought this was a waste of fucking time. And I don't know if it's because I have been cheated on before, so that way I kind of have like such a negative emotion. Because on one hand, I get it. It's like, well, you're trying to be selfless in the relationship so your man can have something he wants. But the thing is the way he goes about it is what makes it terrible. And I just don't agree with that. I just don't. I fucking don't. Oh! God, fucking damn it. Alright. Oh, God. No, actually, this is it. This has been Let's Play Seduce Me. Thanks for joining me. I'm gonna go. Bye. Fuck. Okay. Let her. Fucking hell. Who decided that this was a good idea, by the way? Who the fuck wrote this and said this was a good idea? Damion's face popped back into my memory, reminding me of his desperate wish to become a human. I was able to grant it to him right here. Diana was a cruel woman. Fine.
Fine. Meaning you'll agree to my terms.
I agree to your terms.
Beautiful. Now.
Diana slid down from the railing and walked to me, gently running a finger up my neck and under my chin.
Your energy first.
I closed my eyes, not wanting to look at her as she kissed me. I'm not into women! At least not this route! The kiss wasn't unpleasant by any means, in fact. I felt myself melting into the kiss more so than I wanted. Every single nerve in my body tingled as energy spiraled out of my entire being and into Diana's kiss. Soon, I felt a little weaker and a little more vulnerable than I was before. Diana pulled away and smiled down at me.
Such an interesting human girl. Sad to see you give up your power so easily.
It's for Damion.
Right. Now, speaking of the bastard son...
Don't say anything. Keep going with it. Diana walked into the bedroom and towards Damion, looking down at his sleeping figure.
Oh, such a sweet thing.
How are you going to?
I'll enthrall him, take his energy, cleanse his body, make him forget, and then cast the human spell when he goes back to sleep. Simple, really.
That's it.
That's it. I'll make sure there's no trace of me when I'm done.
Good, because I don't want your cum all over the place. Just do it before I change my mind.
As you wish.
Diana chuckled before snapping her fingers, making Damion vanish from my bed. I instinctively panicked, but caught a hold of myself, remembering what was going on. Remember to bring him back.
I will. A demon never goes back on their word.
And with that, Diana vanished. I felt my stomach churn in disgusting patterns at the thought of Diana with Damion. However, before I could even flex a muscle, Diana reappeared, adjusting her hair back to normal. What? That was fast!
What? Oh.
Diana let out a small laugh as I raised an eyebrow.
I brought into an isolated tear between our worlds. There, time moves much faster than in reality, so I was able to take what I needed and be done.
Fuck. Diana snapped her fingers, making Damion reappear in my bed as if he never left.
And there he is, clean and human.
I quickly ran to Damion's side, not sure what else to say. Diana sighed and popped a whip while crossing her arms at me.
Pity. Damion had so much potential, even for a bastard son.
Can you... Before I could speak more, Diana vanished into the air, leaving me alone with Damion. I looked around, a little paranoid, so she'd just be hiding, but as I clarified to myself that she was gone, I looked at Damion and brushed a strand of hair from his face. Human. Something about this was bittersweet. He got what he wanted, but he had to sleep with Diana to get it. Yeah, I know. Of course it's fucking bittersweet. It's fucking nasty. Ugh! Fucking god damn it. I would not have written the story this way. No. No, 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 no. Nope. 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 Big fat nope. Fuck no. Nope. I slipped back under the covers and into Damien's arms, feeling him unconsciously hold me close to him. I cuddled close, letting sleep take over my mind. Morning had come, and I was well awake before Damion. He was still in my arms, sleeping peacefully as if nothing had happened. One thing was for certain, though. He was human. He was no longer a demon. He was a human as he wanted. I waited for Damion to wake, waited to see him realize that he no longer had magic. I didn't have to wait long. Damion slowly opened his eyes, stretching and rousing up. I held my breath, waiting for him to make the realization. He wouldn't be able to read my mind. He wouldn't be able to use his magic. Damion's eyes landed on me, and his face grew a happy smile.
More...
His voice instantly grew silent as he stared at me, his smile suddenly fading into a look of shock. His mouth opened, but his eyes showed his speechless surprise. Damion couldn't read my thoughts. Damion slowly sat up, keeping his eyes on me as if he was trying to figure out if he was in a dream. I gave a little smile to him. It was almost too cute to see him like this. Damion brought a hand to my face and ran it over my cheek. I closed my eyes, feeling its warmth.
I can't read your mind. I don't have magic anymore.
You're a real boy! I opened my eyes again, smiling at Damon's surprised expression now. In exchange for my magic and energy, Diana gave you your humanity. I stared, going almost frightened as Damon's eyes began to water. His hand on my cheek lightly began to tremble. I didn't know if he was angry or happy, so I prepared for the former. I wasn't expecting him to grab me and hug me tight enough to press the air out of me. I gasped as I felt Damion hold me close and tightly. He was trembling, which only increased my fear. What melted my heart was the sound of Damion weeping into my shoulder.
I'm human. You made me human.
Yep, he's so happy. And he thinks we did it too. Oh, we're so fucking nice. Why couldn't that... Actually, no, no. Why couldn't that be the thing? Like, oh, I sense the energy that, you know, the grandfather protects us with. Like, but we can... but she can take that instead, and... in exchange, she can make him and... God. I'm just so fucking angry at the choices we had to make for this. I wrapped my arms around Damion, burying my face in his shoulder and nodding. You're human now, Damion.
Thank you.
Damion pulled away slightly and pulled me into a kiss, one that was passionate and full of love. I imagined it to be one of the greatest kisses of all of mankind, for Damien's love filled every part of my body. I was happy. The rest of the story can almost be passed over. With Diana gone, my life returned to normal with school and my friends not remembering what had happened. It was as if magic never even appeared in my world. One thing was for certain, however. Damion loved me, and I loved him just as much. We had promised our lives to each other, and nothing was going to take that away from us. Not even time itself. Our love was so powerful, it practically overwhelmed me with joy every time I found him holding me close every morning. What was even better was that Damion was truly happy. He was human as he always wanted, and he showed me his gratitude every day. The other boys decided to leave of their own accord. They knew that my future would only need Damion at my side, so they each decided to start their own lives in the human world. Damion understood perfectly, wishing his brothers the best. Besides, Damion was a human now, and he had found someone to care for. His brothers didn't need to worry about him now that he was caring for me. I felt bad as well for being closer to Damion than the others, but they reassured me that I was okay. And that they would remain nearby should I ever need them. I was happy for that. They made me promise, however, that I would love Damion for as long as we lived. That promise was instantly given. But what of my future? Well, it was kind of made for me. Before I graduated, James decided to step into the light of the Anderson Toys Company, and with the help of his demon powers and leadership charisma, he managed to influence not only the entire board, but my father as well into letting him run for CEO. I was beyond shocked. How James managed to do all that was beyond me, but when the vote was called, James had taken over the company, and I was destined to have. He vowed to respect the wishes of the late CEO and help the company become an even grander company. For a demon, it was simple to make a company grand. My grandfather would have been proud to see how James helped it shine. With the CEO position filled, my father had no choice but to let me decide my future, which made me happy beyond compare. No longer would I have the future scaring me into a corner. I could choose my life on my own. That being said, I was still scared of where the future was going to take me. What did I want to do? Did I want to help James build a company? Did I want to venture off on my own? Damion reassured me that he would support me and help me through whatever I decided to do. I was grateful and would never forget that promise. I was happy, and nothing could shake me down from that happiness. One morning, a good couple of years after the boys and I had met, I had a moment to myself, so I sat in my room and took in all that had happened as if it was all a dream. The demons, the devils, the magic, it all was surreal to believe. It almost frightened me to think that it could have been all a dream. But the warm feeling in my heart reminded me that it was all real. The demons, the magic, the love I had, all real. I smiled as I held my hands to my chest, relishing in the feelings dancing within my soul.
Are you okay?
I looked up at last to see Damion by the doorway, smiling at me. I smiled back. I was just thinking.
Oh? What about?
I was just remembering how we met and such.
Really now?
Yeah, and I wouldn't change anything. I smiled in assurance at my own words. Everything I went through, everything I did for Damion, I'd do it again and 10 times over. Damion walked over and sat beside me, wrapping an arm around my shoulders.
You wouldn't change anything?
Nope. Damion looked at me with almost a knowing smile. He knew something. I just didn't know what.
I know about the real deal that made me human.
What? I instantly felt myself go pale. He knew? How? Diana had put a spell on his memories to make him forget. What do you mean? Damion stood up and walked to my window, staring out it.
My humanity, in exchange for your energy, and mine.
I quickly stood up. Damion, I
know that you agreed to let Diana take my energy if she agreed to remove my memories and make me human.
Damion. I looked over and tried to reach out to him. I felt myself stop before even touching him. The choice was coming back to haunt me. I felt hopeless and powerless. I didn't know what to do. My heart was ripping itself in two. Like as it fucking should be. However, Damion looked to me with a smile.
Well, Diana didn't make me have sex with her.
What? What? I looked at Damion, raising an eyebrow as he wrapped an arm around my waist and pulled me to his body.
She took my energy, yes, but through a ritual. Demons don't completely lose their energy through sex. So she decided I was not worth the lay and simply put me through a draining ritual. used only for demons who are going to be executed.
You were not worth the lay, my bro. Ouch. I mean, it's better, but it's just funny to say, you're not worth the lay, dude. You're just not worth it. I actually completely forgot about this. Holy shit. Like I said, I don't really remember much about Damien's route except for that choice and how you actually have to say yes to it. Just, But she made a deal.
She didn't have to remove memories if she didn't have sex with me. She still kept to her word.
I was completely dumbfounded. I was played. I was completely and utterly played. You motherfuckers! That bitch! Damion laughed at the obvious anger on my face, pulling me close and laying his forehead on mine.
Still, to think you'd make me sleep with her just to get my humanity.
Don't get any ideas, buddy. I swear to God, I'll beat your fucking ass. You wanted to be human, and there was no other way I could think of. Damion kissed my forehead.
No. There wasn't any other way.
Well, she just did the fucking ritual. Of course there was another way, you idiot. I'm sorry. Damion lifted my chin, making me look up at him. I felt completely guilty. I let him be taken over by Diana, and he could have slept with her for all his humanity.
Don't be sorry. You wanted me to be happy. If anything, you sacrificed a lot more than I could have.
I pressed my lips together, not wanting to feel more guilt. I knew he was trying to make me feel better, but I felt utterly gross for letting that choice happen. As we fucking should. Damion laughed before he kissed my cheek, making my guilt slightly shudder.
I understand why, okay? Please, don't beat yourself up over this.
I felt tears run down my cheeks. I didn't even deserve to be held by him. I felt sick to my stomach at myself. I tried to pull away, but Damion held me tighter, not letting me get away. No, let me...
Hey, calm down.
Damion pulled me closer, pulling my head to his chest and trying to soothe me, crying. I gripped onto him, conflicted on myself. I wanted to get away from him, but I needed to hold him.
Diana thought you were very brave to make that decision. She respected you for making that kind of sacrifice. It's not easy to give the one you love away like that for their happiness.
It shouldn't happen to begin with, but okay. Damion lifted my head once again, a world of love within his eyes.
I love you so much. I don't deserve your love at all. You gave me everything. You made me human. For that, I can never repay you.
Damion. Before I could finish, Damion pulled me into a kiss. It reminded me of all the love we shared and all the love we could share together. I gripped onto his shoulders as he held me close. I pulled away from the kiss slowly, looking up at him, still slightly pained and guilt. You forgive me? Damion smiled and lifted me up, wrapping his arm around my waist and looking up at me with a happiness and most loving smile on his face.
A lifetime with the woman I love is well worth forgiving you.
I felt a large smile grow on my face, happy tears now painting over my cheeks. I love you, Damion.
I love you too.
I didn't want to wake up, but this was indeed a dream. I felt light as a feather, not wanting to ever let go of this man in my life. There were no words that could describe the emotions within me. I felt joy, happiness, ecstatic, high, all at once. Here I was, with the man I would be with forever holding me like I was his greatest treasure. The past was beyond us. We had a future to meet. And that was my happily ever after. Damion's humanity. Demon War! Fuck Demon War. Alright. Damien's route. Whew. Ugh. It was nice to revisit Damien's route because I knew there was a lot of interesting stuff that made the story a little bit more innocent. Make more sense. Like the whole, they were guided to go to the house, but no one said why. They just were. But Damien's like, no, that was your grandfather, and he was here chilling, watching over you. But then he left. He rested in peace. Okay, a little rest in peace. So I thought that was a little cute, little side story there. there were... I completely forgot about the fighting scene with Damion, like, with Malix and stuff. I'm like, what did he do again? I really don't remember. Like, I kind of forgot with Matthew. I'm like, I think it had to do with knives, I think. And then it's like, oh, knives, sure enough. But Matthew, or Damion, I'm like, what the fuck does Damion do? He reads fucking minds. What did he do? So that was fun to, like, revisit and reread. So, yeah, that was fun. But again, that ending, I completely forgot about that ending. Like, oh, they didn't actually sleep together. I'm like, oh, they didn't. I completely forgot about that part. I literally thought, yeah, you had to make Diana sleep with him. I was like, so pissed off over that. Which I still don't agree with. I think that could have been written differently. Because it's just kind of dickish. Which, again, I understand what Michaela was trying to go for. It's just like, oh, you're just trying to be selfless, you know? Selfless relationship. But again, it's the way you went about it that makes it so fucking bad. That's just kind of like, no. It's kind of like, you don't kill 10 people just to reach your goal. That doesn't make any sense. And it kind of just feels like that. You just feel yucky at the end. Yucky, yucky, yucky. Yucky. But I'll admit, Damion was kind of fun. I had a hard time trying to get through Damien's route a little bit. Then again, there's a lot of shit going in my life right now, so it's kind of like... shit's not great. But, you know, I'm trying to get through this. And, of course, I'm still trying to get through the Seduce Me series, or routes, through in between every Let's Play that I do. But, yeah, Damion. Wasn't too bad. He wasn't as boring as I remembered him being. I will say that. Like, at the very beginning I said, I remember him being boring, and just plain dumb. Well, I wouldn't say dumb, but he was boring, from what I remember. But then, I actually discovered something about Damion that kind of made me laugh, but I'm kind of like, actually, with this in mind, I kind of want to play his route now, just to see what happens. And, apparently... It has been reported that Damion is most likely to be a yandere character. Like, they act like a yandere person. And I actually can see that now. I can actually fucking see that. There are some parts where he gets, like, so dark and malicious. And it's like, oh. Now that I know that yandere part, it's kind of true. I can actually see it. But I don't see the part where he gets a little obsessed with us. He's obsessed with humans and think, wow, humans are cool and shit, with his human fetish. But definitely not obsessively in love with us, like, as I would with most yandere characters would be. You know? Like, I kind of see, like, the unhealthy side of it, but not, like, the... oh, I will do anything for you type of thing. Because all the other guys kind of did the exact same thing. I would do anything for you and shit. So it's kind of like, that's not different. But yeah, with that in mind, that does add a nice, interesting perspective. So I wouldn't say he's boring so much anymore. I would say he's more of an interesting character. And it helps with the story a little bit more. So yeah. Yeah, so definitely my thoughts changed on Damion. At least for now, anyway. Sam is still the fuckboy, though. He is forever the fucking fuckboy. Forever. I don't care if he's, like, the main story protagonist and shit. I don't give a shit that everybody likes him so fucking much. He's fucking trash to me. He's always trash to me. And he'll forever be the fuckboy. And like I said, if you don't like it, then, ooh, we're gonna have some problems. And by problems, I mean I'm just probably gonna ignore them. But yeah, that has been all the Incubies. We are done with the boys. But, as I have been preaching throughout the boys, there are still plenty of routes to go around, to have fun in, and kind of dick around. And the game does take a different turn when we start going through these other routes, so it should be quite interesting when we explore those. But, until that time comes... I thank you all for joining me, as I am Tara the Fox, you're the viewer, and of course, I hope to see you in the bonus content, alright!